It's time for Coffee with the Chicken Ladies, a podcast for people who love chickens.
Hey everybody, and welcome. It's Chrisie&Holly from Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. We're here, and this is episode number 257 of our podcast, where we talk about everything chicken, family, fun, and
more chickens.
More chickens. We drink a ton of coffee. I'm talking a ton. But most importantly,
we hug chickens every day.
And we kiss them too, don't forget. We brew coffee from a little coffee roaster in Houston, Texas. Bright and early coffee. Holly Ann, what kind of coffee are we brewing today?
Native pecan.
It's so good this time of the year. Now, if you're not drinking this coffee, you are missing out. We have a code at CWTCL 15 for 15% off of bagged coffee. And if you need K-Cups, go to Amazon. But where should everybody go to get the bagged coffee?
brightandearlycoffee.com.
And follow them on social media. Are you ready to sip some of this delicious coffee and chat?
I am, but first, a word from our sponsor.
We have some exciting news to share from our sponsor, Grubbly Farms. They're here, new and improved, Grubbly's World Harvest.
I'm a longtime subscriber, and my flock love the healthy, nutritious treats, plus orders $40 and more ship free.
If you haven't heard, Grubbly's has a fantastic layer pellet and crumble feed. It's packed with plant and insect protein, perfect for those picky chickens and ducks.
Grubbly Farms makes food and treats for healthy pets and planet.
To support us and Grubbly Farms, use the link grubbly.co/coffee. Try it today. Okay, so we're right before Halloween here.
Yep, 2 days before Halloween. Do you have any chicken, poultry costumes happening?
No. Actually, like 3 days, but it's okay. I mean, we're going to be like...
Oh, that's right, because there's 31 days in October.
Exactly. Now, we did our Halloween thing through our neighborhood last week or so, and we go to a friend of ours for a big bonfire, and he decorates the woods. He does a really good job on it. We do that party like 2 weeks ago, so we'll just be probably watching some scary movies around here.
That sounds nice.
Making some popcorn, some apple cider, all the fun things.
That sounds really good. We turn the lights out because we're already a spooky place, and we make it look even spookier. I mean, no one trick-or-treats around here. That's just the way it is. All the parents take their kids to, like, housing developments.
Mm-hmm.
Because around here, they'd be walking like a country mile to each house, so...
That's what they do here. We do it, though, the Saturday before Halloween every year so that everyone knows to be home because it is such a long walk between the houses.
Mm-hmm.
When the kids were little, we used to do a hay ride. One of the guys would bring their lawn tractor and carry all the kids on a big hay thing, and then we would go through the neighborhood and trick or treat because it's such a long walk. Yeah. But now they're older. They can all walk it. So it's like, go walk. Have fun.
Nice weather for it. It's beautiful out here. I still have people coming out of the end of the molt. So I thought Delilah the Fayumi was finished molting. She did the whole no tail feather and everything. And she came out of the coop the other day, and she's missing all of her upper neck feathers, and the pin feathers are coming in.
We're still knee-deep in molting over here. We've got more chickens without tail feathers than with. Spicy was in the brood. Now she's in the after the brood molt or the seasonal molt. I actually took some pictures of them. I may put them up on social media. If you're listening to this now, you may have already seen them, but I do want to show chickens in real life, and I want to show what you're looking for when you see the molt, because it's scary if you don't know it. If you're a first-time keeper and you're not knowing what it is, it's scary looking.
I think it always scares people that first day they come out and the run looks like a pillow exploded. It's really alarming. It is.
My coops look like that. My run looks like that. Sometimes I think it insulates the coop a little bit more, the feathers. It keeps it a little warmer in there. But it looks like they had a pillow fight. It looks like 9th grade English when we did that project and we had the pillow fight. Do you remember that? It was me and you and Michelle.
Oh yeah. It was when we found a William Shakespeare manuscript in the attic.
We unzipped the feather pillow, and then we had a pillow fight. Feathers were all over the classroom. That was fun.
I'd forgotten about that. That's funny. What did we get on that project? Do you remember?
Probably an A, but we had to stay and clean up afterwards. That's for sure. It was fun. So, if you're listening to our show and you're loving it, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a written review. It does amazing things for the growth of our show. And while you're there, hit that subscribe button because you never want to miss any fun. That's for sure. And they count them.
If you're looking for other ways to help support the show, you can tell a few chicken, duck, and or goose-loving friends about us. You can share your favorite episodes on social media. You can become a patron of the show, patreon.com/coffeewiththechickenladies. Gigantic thank you to all of our patrons. And the other thing you can do to help support the show is visit our website and our show notes, use our affiliate links and discount codes, and buy products from our sponsors.
Yay! Holly Ann, have you heard of this new game, Chicken Challengers?
I have.
It is hilarious. It's a fast-paced party board game where chickens battle it out to become the ultimate barnyard champion.
It's a lot of fun. You can use some strategy, you can bluff, try to outsmart the other players.
It was so easy for my parents to learn, and it's endlessly replayable.
You can play it with as few as 2 players up to about 8, and it's fun for kids, teens, and adults. Everyone loves it.
Now learn more at chickenchallengers.com or find it on Amazon today.
Just search Chicken Challengers.
You know what I love when it's 95 degrees outside?
Being inside.
Well, that too, but I really love cleaning my igloo chicken coop.
Yeah, it is so easy to clean. You don't have to break a sweat.
And you can use a water hose or pressure washer, so it doubles as a cool down. I also love those run covers.
Oh man, the shade is superb. I go into the run to cool off.
Yep, my flock's covered during the heat of the day, just chillin'.
Meanwhile, we're melting on the patio. Seriously, can we get in on this amazing coop design for ourselves?
They're out there living the dream.
So when it's pushing 100 degrees, the right setup matters.
That's why we choose an igloo.
Get your girls their own just in time for summer.
Search Omelette. That's OMLET.
The Breed Spotlight is brought to you by Murray McMurray Hatchery, defining quality for generations. For over a century, Murray McMurray Hatchery has remained a trusted family-owned business, working tirelessly to ensure our poultry meet the highest standards.
Whether you are an experienced enthusiast or just embarking on the journey, look to McMurray Hatchery for guaranteed quality, rare and heritage breeds, low minimums, and all the supplies you need to raise your flock. Request a free catalog today. There's a quack quack here and a quack quack there. Quack quack everywhere. It's time for the breed. Quack quack, the breed spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here's the funny thing though. This duck doesn't quack.
I know, but it's still got duck in the name.
It's a duck, right. So this week we're doing the Muscovy duck, and I did not know a lot about them before I did all the research for this breed spotlight. They're really interesting. The Muscovy is an unusual member of the poultry family. They're originally from South America, but they have this Russian-esque name, Muscovy. Essentially, it means from Moscow. So Muscovies are actually a different species from our Mallard-derived ducks. Like all the other domestic ducks are Mallard-derived, except the Muscovy. And their most obvious feature is the red skin around their faces, sometimes down to their necks. It's called caruncle.
Everybody knows them by that, that's for sure.
I think that's the same term that they use for turkeys, caruncle.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of weird, but it's just that red bumpy skin.
Yeah.
Another unusual thing about them is that they're perching ducks. So they prefer to roost at night instead of sleeping and bedding the way the other domesticated ducks and geese will.
Okay.
In the wild, they'll perch in trees. And in the wild, the hens will actually lay their eggs in trees.
Nice.
Which was kind of interesting.
That's nice for the babies. The babies are like, what the heck's going on?
Wood ducks do it too, and apparently they do just fine. But the domesticated form, they still have that desire to perch. And some of them, if they haven't gotten too heavy, will fly.
Oh, well, that's how they have to get down.
Right.
From the tree.
That's right. The Muscovy is a heritage breed duck, though they are not considered endangered or at risk. And the white Muscovy appeared in the American Poultry Association's first printing of the Standard of Perfection in 1874 in the heavy duck class.
They are pretty big.
Surprisingly. Now, like turkeys, Muscovies were first domesticated by people in Mexico, Central, and South America. The domestication took place long before Europeans had arrived in the Americas. Archaeological researchers have found evidence of domestic Muscovies as far back as the 1st century AD.
That's far.
Yeah. They have found bones, carvings, duck-shaped pottery, which was fantastic, and various paintings that all show that Muscovies had their place in the lives of the various indigenous people throughout Central and South America. Now, I was still curious about the name, so I started to dig a little bit about that. There are many, many theories about this name. The three most prevalent, you tell me which one makes the most sense to you. The first is that they're named for the musky odor emitted by the drakes, Muscovy. The second, the word Muscovy is an aberration of one of the names used by the indigenous people, and somewhere, it might have even been Wikipedia, I found a list of like 15 different names.
Okay.
And some of them did begin with an M.
Okay.
Or the third choice, the name comes from the English Muscovite Company, some of whom did bring this duck back to Europe in the 1500s.
I'm thinking the third. That makes more sense.
I think it makes sense too. I mean, why the heck else? For years, I always thought that these were a Russian duck because they were called Muscovies. I had no idea they were South American.
I've always known that they like to be in the South way more because they love the warm weather. So I see them a lot because I vacation in Florida a lot. So they're a ton down there.
So I agree with you. And in fact, the time does line up because European explorers had started bringing Muscovies home with them in the 1500s.
It just makes sense because they name things after where they are, where they're going.
Right.
So that is the one that in my brain is like, yeah, it's got to be it.
Yeah, just the fact that the Muscovite Company was during the early 1500s, I think that one is the one that holds water as well. While they're not as popular as the Mallard-type farm ducks, Muscovies have always had a group of loyal fanciers and breeders, for a very long time anyway. There were Muscovies present at the first U.S. poultry show in Boston in 1849.
Okay.
They have been popular show ducks since the APA was first started, around the same time. Now, this is interesting to me, and this is one note if you're planning on breeding. Muscovies can breed with other duck breeds, and they will produce hybrid offspring. But those offspring will almost always be infertile or sterile because of the very different genetics of the parent stock.
So it stops there.
Yeah. So they can have one generation and that's it.
They can only have one generation. And then that generation, I guess, can have one generation.
No, they're sterile.
Oh, they're sterile. So nobody, it's just one time. That's it.
Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. So if you're looking to like, quote unquote, improve your Muscovies, or they're not the ones to work with, you're going to have to stick with the Mallard-derived farm ducks if you're thinking about doing a different breeding project.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the caruncle or the bumpy red skin on the Muscovy's face is one of their most recognizable features. Male Muscovies are significantly larger and heavier than the females, often growing to twice the size of the hens. I mean, it makes more sense. Usually, historically, in every species out there, the males are going to be a little bit bigger than the females. Usually, there are some exceptions.
Spiders and praying mantis.
There are some exceptions, but mostly. Now, the standard of perfection does call for drakes to weigh in about 10 to 12 pounds, while the hens are 6 to 7. So that's why they are definitely in that heavy category, because for a duck, when you have the mallard family, they're small. They're like 4 pounds. So 6 or 7 for a female is pretty big. Now, they have a long, broad back and a broad breast over short, stout legs. They're super cute, that's for sure. And they have long tails, especially the drakes. Now, their bills are medium length and have a large bean at the tip. The two most common colors are black and white. Usually, that's what you're going to see. What's black and white and red all over? A Muscovy duck. And the newspaper. That's the actual joke.
Yes.
The two most common colors are black and white, but there are also silver, blue, and chocolate Muscovies, which I'm sure are super adorbs. Yeah. Each of the colors has a white patch on each of their wings. Now, leg colors depend on color variety, and they have long webbed feet and sharp claws. Now,
I just want to interject something, and I saw this after I had written up our outline for this show. But those are the APA accepted colors, the 5 you just said.
Yeah.
But apparently there are also like a bunch of other colors that Muscovies come in from specialty breeders. So I just wanted to put that in there.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a lot. So before I get into eggs, we go to Sawgrass in Ponte Vedra, Florida a lot. We've been there a lot. And on that resort, it's a golf course, but there is a Muscovy duck that's lived there for many, many, many years. And she is like a crowd favorite and she follows people all around the pool.
Can she fly?
I've never seen her fly, but there's villas on this resort.
Yeah.
And when we stay in the villas, she taps her beak on the sliding doors every morning to wake you up. And of course, we're the ones feeding her and sitting there with her.
Oh, my meal ticket is here.
Yeah. So all the pool chairs, sometimes they try to chase her out and we're like, no, please let her stay. She's actually jumped up on my pool chair before and just laid down on the lounger with me.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So they can be really, really friendly, which is great.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So let's go into egg numbers. The numbers listed for eggs laid by Muscovy hens are all over the place. So it sounds like at the low end, they may be around 50 eggs per year, and on the high end, up to 180. Now, in their catalog, Metzer Farms describes them as an average layer. This bird is going to be like a pet layer because their personalities are going to come through. So it may not be as much as about the laying or anything else as they're going to be great for companions. So don't expect 300 eggs per year from these ladies. Like I said, they're going to be like pets. Their personality is going to be like taken over for the eggs. They're going to be like, you don't need eggs. I'm going to snuggle you instead. They're all known for going broody and being excellent moms, sometimes raising multiple broods in a year. Now, Muscovy ducklings take 35 days to hatch, about a week longer than the mallard-derived duck breeds, and chickens, too. So they're going to take a little bit longer.
Would that be 2 weeks longer than chickens? Yeah.
Yeah. So if your duck went off and you're like, where is she? She may be sitting on a nest. You may see babies. Or if she's broody and you know it, don't alarm yourself if it's a little bit longer, because it will be.
Mm-hmm. People who keep Muscovies tend to love them, all for different reasons, but they are much quieter than the mallard type breeds. They kind of make these little whistles and trills, but they don't quack. Let me tell you about the racket that my 6 duck hens make every day. I mean, it is loud. So for people who, maybe live somewhere where that would bother the neighbors, they might want a quieter duck. Like you said, they're super friendly ducks. They make great pets and companions. Historically, they are popular homestead birds. They've been kept as dual purpose to provide table birds, eggs, fertilizer. And the other thing that they are just pros at is plenty of foraging and pest control.
Now, they're also great show birds because they're gorgeous. And like geese, the males can be very protective during breeding season. So pay attention to that breeding season. She might act out a little differently towards you than she does in the normal times. And those claws can be pretty sharp and you don't want to get scratched by them. They can do some damage. If you keep multiple drakes, make sure they have plenty of space or even barriers between them to avoid that fighting because they all want that lady. They want the lady.
Muscovies are tropical birds. Like you were saying, they do really well in warm weather. I mean, they're South American birds. So they do well in the heat and they definitely appreciate water, but they don't stay in water constantly. They're not quite as waterproof as the mallard type ducks. They are fairly cold tolerant, but they must have shelter from the wind and wet weather. They need dry bedding, and they're also more susceptible to frostbite than the mallard ducks.
Yeah, they got a lot more skin around that head area and everything going on. I know we named this little hen Billy. We named her Billy a long time ago. I'm sure she's got 150,000 names from everybody comes and visits her, but she would follow me from through the resort. If I would walk from the villa to the spa, then to the pool, she would walk with me and the whole time. So I was always amazed. I think they have to have some predator savviness because on this resort, there are gators. So going back to when you were talking about roosting, that may have a lot to do with their survival in an area where there are gators, and they might be used to that. And that's one of the reasons why they might roost at night.
I mean, tropical areas tend to have their own sets of predators, right?
Right, so exactly.
That's another reason why they are popular with homesteaders. I mean, obviously, we don't advise unsupervised free range, but people do it. And that's, again, one of the reasons, because these are kind of, again, cold and wet, they don't do well with, but they are kind of a rough and tumble bird in other ways.
Yeah, because I have seen gators on sawgrass, a lot of them.
Mhm.
We watch them in the waters. They have gators. They have the big snapping turtles that we feed. That's
Yeah.
one reason why we like to go to this resort, because it's got so many animals on it. And I'm always like, how is this duck living? But the roosting at night may be a key thing, and they may have adapted that according to staying away from predators. I'd be like, man, we can't stay on the ground. We're going to get eaten.
Even if they're too heavy to fly far, if they have flight takeoff, that's enough to get them away from, say, a gator or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's probably just built into their DNA at this point.
Yeah, this would be one kind of duck that I would actually like, just because I'm having the experience with one and seeing how friendly they are.
Mhm.
If they follow you around, that's awesome. Where should everybody go to find the Muscovy duck?
So black and white Muscovy ducklings are available from both Metzer Farm and McMurray Hatchery. If you are interested in other color varieties or in showing Muscovies, you want to join the American Poultry Association.
You can find different places to get them, or, my guess is going to be more in the South, Georgia, Carolinas, Florida, where it's warm, Texas, all those places.
Our upcoming guest is in a temperate region, but she said the Muscovies are her favorite ducks.
That's what she did say that. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Okay. So if you have them, share them in the story, hit the mention button, put our name in. We would love to see those cute little Muscovies.
Are you ready to dive into the fascinating world of backyard ducks? Look no further than Metzer Farms, your premier destination for top quality waterfowl. Whether you're a seasoned breeder or just starting out, Metzer Farms has everything you need to elevate your flock to the next level. And if you're passionate about call ducks, you're in for a treat.
Metzer Farms hatches a stunning variety of call ducks, meticulously bred for their miniature size, beauty, and calm temperament. From snowy whites to vibrant colors, each duck is a masterpiece waiting to grace your backyard. Visit metzerfarms.com today to browse their extensive selection and start your journey into the wonderful world of waterfowl. Metzer Farms, where passion meets perfection.
If you're looking for a chicken coop that's produced in a planet-friendly, sustainable way, try Nestera.
Each coop is made from highly durable, 100% recycled plastic that keeps the equivalent of up to 2,000 shampoo bottles out of a landfill.
Their clean, modern design will fit into any garden or run area and comes with an industry-beating 25-year warranty and a range of handy accessories.
Simple to put together, so quick and easy to clean, and most importantly, red mite resistant. Your chickens will love it.
Quick shipping from Nestera.us.
For a 5% discount, use the affiliate link in our show notes, on our website, and on Instagram. Link in bio. Check them out today. Okay, so are we ready to move on to main topic? Yeah.
Yeah. This week, we are really thrilled to have a very special person with us. Cassidy Cornell. We first met Cassidy through McMurray because she manages their blog, but she also does a lot of her own homesteading. So Cassidy is the halftime homesteader and has just had a really wonderful book published. This book is filled with all kinds of stuff that we love to talk about on the show. Food security, small space homesteading, poultry keeping, recipes, all of the great stuff. The One Acre Homestead by Cassidy Cornell, published by Sawdust Press, is available on Amazon, and Sawdust Publishing of the wonderful Janet Garman. We'll have links to all of these in our show notes. Cassidy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the table. So today we wanted to talk to you about your book, but first of all, we're all in the McMurray family, which is a great family to be part of. We all have been working together for years over there. You do run their blog, which Holly Ann said, and we do blog posts for McMurray. So we definitely have gotten to know you over the years, and you're such a sweet person. Okay, so I wanted to start off the interview with you telling our listeners a little bit about yourself so that they can get to know you too.
So I always start out by saying I'm a wife and mom because everything I do on our farm stems from those two roles, in part because I am also a huge foodie. And so I kind of joke around and say that I got into homesteading because of the food. And really what it was is, my husband and I, we moved to the east side of Washington State when our daughter was born. So in 2020. And I became a stay-at-home mom. I was a teacher before that. And we had a little 1/3 of an acre property, and there were some garden beds already in there. And I really got the idea in my head that I wanted to start keeping chickens. And I had kept quail for many years before. I had quail at our house on the west side because we really loved their eggs. And so we moved into our new property over here and we got quail, and my husband agreed to 4 chickens. And so my first group of 12 chicks came in the mail.
What were they? What were they? What breeds? You remember?
Well, yes, I still have some of those ladies. I can see them outside in the backyard right now. I had one of everything. I did a little bit of everything, a salmon faverolles. I had a buff Brahma, Americana, black copper Marians, just a smattering of everybody. And I loved taking care of the chicks with my little kids, first and foremost. That was so fun. But getting our first eggs from those chickens was like a whole new world for me, because the quail eggs were awesome and I love them. And I will always sing the praises of quail, especially for people who are in spaces like an HOA where they can't keep chickens, but
Right.
they can probably keep quail. But getting like an actual real decent sized egg from your chicken it never gets old. Even to this day, when I have a pullet that starts to lay.
It really doesn't get old.
But
never
you
does.
have geese. So how about that first goose egg?
I haven't had my first goose egg yet. That'll be this spring. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're very new on the. Okay, you're very new. You're
I'm very new on the goose front.
the goose. The
I
goose
cannot
eggs.
wait.
Holly's like, her goose eggs are like golden eggs.
They're
like,
I cannot wait. My baking this spring, when the girls start to lay, is going to be off the hook.
Oh, I need to talk to you again after your geese are laying. Their notes.
I
Yes.
have to say, I do relate with your story. I was a veterinary trauma nurse for 15 years, became a stay-at-home mom, and you do need something else to move on to keep your mind going besides. I mean, being a mom is a really important job, but you do need something for you. And, you know, I can see turning as to the homesteading and the chickens that you can do something right at home and teach your kids along the way. I've turned the corner. I've taught the girls, but now they're like, these are your chickens now, you know, so enjoy it while they're little, because when they get bigger, they're going to be like, really, these are your chickens.
Here's the thing, though. So, right, they're young adults and they're done with the chickens right now, but that doesn't mean they're not going to come back to the chickens.
I already told them they have to have their own chickens to have their eggs. Don't be saying they're my chickens and then come to me for eggs. Unless you're helping with the work. And they still do chicken chores. My oldest comes home from college and still has to help put the chickens out and in every day and do all the things. So it's really an awesome thing to get into with family.
It is. It's been wonderful for our family, for sure.
Your book focuses a lot on what you can do in small space, which is absolutely true. I mean, without getting into the whole thing, we ended up having toxic soil here from fertilizer overuse. And so I just went to some raised garden beds, really raised. It's amazing how much I can grow in just 2 of them. So when you were putting the book together, what did you really want people to know about maximizing their small space?
So we started off, like I said, when we moved to Spokane, and we were on a 1/3 of an acre, and I loved the birds and I really wanted goats. Well, I wanted a cow, but I knew that was probably not in the cards. And in our area, you have to have an acre to be zoned for large livestock. So we found a piece of property that's just a teeny smidge over an acre and moved here. And so that first year, we moved our chickens here. Tom and Ginger sent me baby ducklings as a housewarming gift. So we got ducks.
Wait, you've got to talk about that, because that is the best housewarming gift ever.
It's so Tom and Ginger, too. It's so Tom and Ginger to do that.
And then we got our first dairy goats that same fall. And right after Ginger and I finished catalog, so I had started with some new animals, but in a small and manageable amount. And Ginger and I finished catalog that fall. And you know that funny meme? I think it's Nicolas Cage, and he looks kind of silly, and he's got coffee, and it says, I drank too much coffee, basically, and decided I'm going to raise Thanksgiving dinner. And I sent it to Ginger, and I was like, I think that this is me I want to raise a bunch of meat birds next year, a bunch of different types, and just see what I like here. And she said, great, let's do it. So that first spring in our house, we had our first dairy goats kid. We had our first girls in true in milk. And I raised Cornish cross meat birds. And I also did some Murray's midget white turkeys and jumbo white Pekin ducks. So I raised 3 different types of meat birds from McMurray. And then I also did 2 batches of meat quail that year. And I think the big turning point for me in wanting to talk about that was when I'm lucky enough to travel with McMurray to different conferences and festivals around the country, I talk to a lot of people and I ask them, what they're doing, what's their property like, tell me about their animals. And more often than not, people will say, well, I'm only on half an acre, or I'm only on an acre, or sometimes even less. Like I don't even have I have a third of an acre or a quarter.
Mhm.
And so it's not really enough to do anything. And my favorite thing is to say, well, let's talk about your space. Let's talk about the rules and zoning that you're operating within. And let's come up with a plan for what you can do, because there is so much that you can do where you are. And I really love sharing with people about all of the things that we are able to produce to feed our family from just an acre. So we do eggs. We do 2 batches of Cornish cross every year. Lots and lots of dairy products from the goats. We have a little garden. And I think it's just something that I feel very passionate about sharing with people, because I think a lot of times people are in the mindset of they have to wait for the perfect property and or the perfect moment in their lives to get started on this journey, because it can feel overwhelming. It totally can feel very overwhelming.
We
No,
like
go
to
ahead.
tell people to do what you love. So
Yes.
a small space doesn't mean you can't do what you love. So
No, not at
Well,
all.
which is where a book like yours gives people, sometimes I think people just need inspiration. They just need someone else to say to them, well, I did it, and here are some ways you can do it.
Exactly. And I think also one thing I try to tell people too is it is the One Acre Homestead. It is focusing on doing things in a smaller space. But also, if you're in the research phase, and even if you have a bigger property than that, it's so beneficial to read through how other people are doing things and kind of cherry pick and say, well, that sounds like something I would really like, or that sounds like something that would really work well on my property, regardless of how big or small it is.
Right. Yeah. If you don't want to do table birds, you can just do layers. If you don't want to do poultry at all, you can have your goats or sheep. Or
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of this is just figuring out what you want to do.
exactly. If you have a windowsill, I know this is cliche, put the herbs in the windowsill.
Yeah.
But if you my daughter loves cilantro. If you love cilantro, grow cilantro. You can grow that in a very small area. We always say eggs and veg, you can do so much with a small space and growing it. And eggs go in so many different things. So, if you are an urban homesteader and you live in the city and you have 4 chickens, you're already there. You can do the things with those fresh eggs. I do think that your book can be inspirational for people, because they need to see someone else sometimes doing the things. And that's the beginning premise of social media, of Pinterest, all of those places, magazines, books. These are the places people go to get inspiration. I don't know if we mentioned it. We were talking about it before we were recording, but you are an ex-school teacher, middle school teacher. So did you teach English or writing or ILA or?
I did. I taught English language arts, and I also did social studies as well. So I was a core teacher. So I had my kiddos for both of those subjects.
Nice. So middle school. So you're a tough lady. At the core, you're a tough lady.
I like to think so. Yeah.
You're in the Tough Lady Chicken Ladies, Coffee of the Chicken Ladies Club, the Tough Ladies Club.
Yeah.
So you were talking about growing your own food as a foodie. That's me too. Because of the quality, because of the varieties that are available.
But Holly's geese eat all of her food, so.
Okay, so the geese dug up my sweet potatoes and they love them. They love them. I got one large one that I literally took out of someone's bill. So 2 things is the quality of the food that you can produce, and then food security. Can you talk a little bit about food security?
Yeah. So when we started kind of coming up with this dream, it was during peak COVID. And it was really a kind of a jarring moment for us. And I won't go too deep into it here, but I also gave birth to a baby who had a lung deformity. So it was like extra scary for us because we could not even afford for her to get a cold. And then all of a sudden there were food shortages and there were certain groceries that weren't available. And for my husband and I, that was kind of a wake-up call because we did not have even a decent stockpile to be like, okay, well, this can get us through XYZ amount of time. And so when we really started looking into it, we knew that eggs were something that we could tick off the list of being beholden to someone else in terms of them supplying it for us. And also knowing that eggs are a very nutrient dense, very nutrient rich food for our kiddos, not only in their everyday life, but if something were to happen and it was like, okay, well, we can't get to the grocery store or eggs are not in the grocery store anymore, they're right back here and we have as many as we need. And so that's been a really, really big focus for us is supplying the foods for our family that we love to eat and that are easy for us to grow and raise here on this property.
I mean, eggs are one of the cleanest proteins known to man. So they're a basis of a lot of things. And I like the recipes. In your book, you also share some of the recipes that you use, which I love the hot cocoa one with the cream.
Yeah.
I love that one. And the goats, it's a lot of people think goats are, we're just going to have them as pets. But when you get dairy goats, let's think about goat cheese, all the things. You can then branch into making their dairy into soaps, into lotions, all the different things. So that one animal, you know, even if you just had two, I try to talk my husband into, I'm like, look, the goats will cut the grass for you. He's like, yes, but they won't cut lines in the grass for me. I'm like, come on.
Every time I go to Christie's, I just look around and practically cry at the waste of good grass.
I said, look, the grass, they'll eat the grass in the same length. He's like, no, but they won't cut the lines in the lawn. I'm like, come on. But yeah, so I love what you do. It's great. I love the fact that you put the recipes in the book. You have goat's milk ice cream in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I often will joke around and say that ice cream is the food that made us get into homesteading because my aunt and uncle got us an ice cream maker for Christmas one year. And at that time, my husband was driving over an hour each week to go pick up raw milk from Idaho.
Oh, geez.
And I made our first homemade ice cream with raw milk from the store he was getting it from and our homegrown eggs. And I was like, well, this is it for me. This is who I am now. Making ice cream is my personality.
A lot of people have never tasted thick, real custard, and it's kind of life-changing when you put that in your mouth.
Yeah.
You have also a recipe in here, duck egg chocolate chip cookies. Now, we know duck eggs are so much better for baking because of the yolk to white ratio. It makes everything more rich. Do you tell a difference? Can you see a difference in it when you use them?
When we make things with specific eggs, we can totally tell a difference. So the duck eggs, those are my favorite for chocolate chip cookies. I really like turkey eggs for chocolate cake. We discovered that this year. So delicious for chocolate cake. And then in the spring, I'm really excited.
So what's your favorite for quail eggs? Is it the hot cocoa?
It's the hot cocoa. Quail eggs, I mean, we'll boil them and peel them. And the kids think that's very fun, or do like very tiny fried eggs with tiny pancakes for breakfast. They think that's really cute. But really, I like to put those in hot cocoa for the kids. That was kind of where I started since we first had quail with the kids. And they were, loved hot cocoa. And I thought, well, if I just add some quail eggs to that, that's going to be an extra nutritional boost. And they actually, when you add them in hot and you're blending it with an immersion blender while the cocoa milk is still warm, the eggs come in and they give it a really nice velvety, thick texture. And it's delicious.
That sounds amazing. I'm imagining that turkey eggs are probably similar to goose eggs because when I make cakes, it's goose eggs all the way.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to try. I cannot wait for my girls to lay.
They're amazing. And it's actually, a lot of people prefer to make meringues with chicken eggs. They're just as good with duck and goose eggs. You just need to add a little bit of vinegar because it helps the protein denature in the goose and the duck eggs. And so you have to beat them a little longer, but with the vinegar in there, they do meringue just as easily as chicken eggs.
That's
really
what she
good to know.
said.
So I want to get chickeny for a minute. Because you do
Let's
something
do
in
it.
the book. Now, we've done this on the podcast for years, so I was so excited when I saw it in the book. You talk about the APA classes of chickens. And this is, I mean, when you're talking about heritage breed chickens, those APA classifications, they're very logical, but they also help people put flocks together well. Why did you decide that that was really important information to have in the book?
So those are a lot of conversations that I have with people through McMurray and also through social media when people reach out and they say, I'm thinking about getting into chickens. What breed should I get? And overall, when you're focusing on classes of chickens, those are really going to help people thrive, especially someone new. You don't want to send, for example, if someone's living in Minnesota, you don't want to say, okay, go ahead and get a bunch of breeds that require a really hot climate. Can it be done? Yes. Is it going to be great? Not going to be as successful as if you're setting them up for success by saying, okay, go ahead and get an American class chicken, because those chickens, as a group of heritage breeds, have been bred over the years to survive and thrive in our area. And so I really like to ask people, where do you live? What's the climate like? Tell me about your winter. Tell me about your summer. Tell me about your needs specifically in regards to if you have little kids. If you have a small space where your hens are going to need to be, in a smaller area versus free ranging. So knowing your needs on your specific property really helps you pick from the different classes to see which breeds are going to work best for you.
So let's go into your breeds. What made you pick them?
The breeds of chickens that I have?
Yeah.
Well, I would say at this point in time, what I do is I kind of do a 50-50. So I am very passionate about heritage breeds, especially working with McMurray Hatchery. We have a lot of our heart invested in helping to preserve rare and exotic heritage breeds across the country. So I really like to focus on heritage breeds that do well in super cold winters because it gets quite cold over here. And, I like the big body ladies. I like the fluffy butts.
We love a big hen. That is more to hug.
Yes.
We love them.
Yes.
So I have definitely, I would say at this moment in time, probably my favorite breeds that I have back there are I have Cochins and Brahmas, and I just love those ladies. And they're such good moms.
You have excellent taste in chickens.
I think you have the same taste in chickens that we do.
That's why it's excellent.
And for next season, I definitely want to get back into Faverolles. Those are one of my favorite breeds. I think they're just so cute and dorky.
Yeah, we both have several. They're amazing.
They're wonderful.
They're so sweet. That being said, I also make sure that a good portion of my flock is made up of production layers too. And I think that that's something that's often overlooked, especially in the homesteading world and especially in small scale chicken keeping. Is the number one goal for my chickens is I got to feed my kids eggs, and we will knock out a dozen eggs a day, no problem.
Yeah.
So the two different types of birds really balance each other out. The production girls are hitting the eggs in the basket with extreme regularity for those first 2 years of their life. And then the heritage girls are bringing to the table they have great personalities, and the production ladies do too. I feel like they complement each other in terms of lay. Like, you have one girl that's not laying on a specific day, another chicken's going to do it for you. And I just really love the foraging instincts and the mothering abilities of the heritage girls. So I feel like having a well-rounded flock in that way has been a really successful endeavor for us in our little backyard farm because we get the best of both worlds.
It's funny because even with some heritage breeds, the Hamburgs, the Leghorns, they're high production. Well, I was thinking of their smaller size, their higher production of eggs, and you can even use them, the same kind of way that you would use a production breed because they're high producers. So, if you have a small space, the Hamburgs are great layers. They're small, they're fancy, so you can feel like you have a fancy, chicken in your flock. And that's the thing. Eggs are the stepping stone to everything. So you want to kind of keep having those eggs. Even in a small area, you can do it. But number one, rules and regulations, you have to check those out first because every area, every neighborhood is different. You have to make sure that you're following the rules.
that's something that I also really like to talk to people about, especially if they're in a very small urban area, is that if your HOA specifically says no chickens, go back and read the fine print, because most of the time they're not going to say anything about quail.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I never thought about that before you just said it. And that's going to be my learn something new every day kind of moment, because I didn't think about quail that way. But hey, that's smart, because if you can't have chickens in the fine print, it doesn't say quail. And quail are going to give you little eggs, but you can still have fresh eggs that way.
And quail are really cool because they hit maturity at 8 weeks. So you're going to get eggs at 8 weeks.
Wow.
It's a very, very quick turnaround time.
How's a personality like having quail?
They're definitely more flighty than a chicken, but if you spend a lot of time with them, like I've had some quail that were very, very sweet, very docile. I generally prefer jumbo Coternics. I feel like they're bigger. They lay a bigger egg. They have a bigger body if you want to focus on meat production. And they also, overall, to me, just seem more common. I've kept, a lot of quail over the past 10 or 11 years.
Are they also the ones with the fancy head jewelry?
No.
Mm-hmm. They're the ones I would want because it's like fancy, like.
Totally get it. No, they can be pretty plain Janes. But there are Celadon Coternics quail lay little blue eggs, which are pretty fun.
And they're pretty. They've
fun.
got pretty feathers.
I mean, your appetizer game goes way up when you got quail.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And their eggs are just so cute. And so
you're talking about apps galore that you can really amaze your guests with mini eggs.
I mean, quail keeping is pretty gosh darn foodie when you get right down to it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a pretty foodie and niche kind of egg to be keeping. But if that's all you can do it. And there's no shame in feeling like it's, less than a chicken. I think a lot of people think that, like, oh, well, quail is, they're kind of small. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because it's just doing what you can with where you are and making sure that you like it.
Exactly.
That whole thing. Do what you love.
That's important. Grow what you like. I mean, I've tried to grow various things over the years and then realized I don't even like that anyway. Let's take that out. I think it's the same way with poultry. You find the poultry that works for you. You find the veg or fruit that works for you. There's so much more in the book I wish we could talk about, including livestock guardian dogs. But people are going to have to buy the book instead and read it for themselves.
Yeah, you definitely want to check this book out. It's a great inspiration. It's really a nice read. And you want to be inspired, and that's what you do, right? That's the goal.
So the book is The One Acre Homestead by Cassidy Cornell. Again, you can get it through Sawdust Publishing or Amazon. I have links in the show notes. Cassidy, as you go, two questions. The first is, what is your favorite breed of chicken?
My favorite breed of chicken, I love a Brahma.
You've got the best taste in poultry. Yes.
I love a Brahma and I love a Faverolles. And a red stuff.
Well, that's mine. So you got the best of both worlds here.
I love them all.
The last question as we let you go is, what do you want people to take away from this book?
Really, just like I was saying earlier, that you can do so much wherever you are, whether it's a small urban backyard with a hutch of quail and a few containers for gardening and growing herbs in, or if you're on more space, even if it's only an acre. There is so much that can be done, and to not wait for the perfect property and the perfect moment. Because I got into this, my husband and I got into this when our kids were very little. So I always say, I was working around nap schedules and, changing diapers and all of that while we were getting into homesteading. And it's all worth it. It's all worth it to start where you are.
There's no such thing as the perfect time or the perfect place anyway.
No,
and you can do it. You can do it. So we want to inspire everyone also. So we're going to mention this on here because we want you guys to go over to our Instagram, social medias. We're going to have a giveaway of the book, and we're going to throw in one of our mugs because you guys, we know you love drinking coffee. So we're going to have a giveaway going starting this evening.
You could do that with cocoa too.
Oh, yeah. You could do the cocoa and the coffee with the chicken ladies mugs. Perfect. And so you want the book and the mug so that you're great in the fall. We're going to have that giveaway going over there. So join it. You have to follow all of us on social media and tag some friends that you know would love it too. And then you enter. So we want to thank Cassidy for coming on. We've known you for a long time. It was great to finally meet you in person on Zoom, of course.
Yeah. Yes.
And take care.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Thanks for having me today.
Anytime. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
We just want to thank Cassidy one more time for a really, really great chat. Remember, you can check her out on social media at the Halftime Homestead.
And don't forget to join the giveaway. So I had my family over the other night and we played this really new, awesome game called Chicken Challengers. Have you heard of it?
I have.
It was so much fun. These chickens battle it out to be the ultimate chicken in the barnyard. It's crazy.
It's really fun. There's hilarious artwork and lots of chicken puns. I just loved it.
It's guaranteed laughter. You know what? For family nights, for game nights, hey, we should take this on conventions with us.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's all ages. Kids, adults, anyone can play.
Now, learn more at chickenchallengers.com or find it on Amazon today.
Just search for Chicken Challengers.
Okay, so are we ready to move on to
Cracking the eggs.
cracking those eggs? Now, today's cracking the eggs. We're doing, October is pumpkin month still. We're still in October. So how are we closing this out?
Pumpkin Bundt Cake. It's actually Pumpkin Applesauce Bundt Cake, and it's ridiculously good. It is surprisingly easy to make. There's that word everyone hates, moist. It is a moist and delicious cake. But I was talking to Pete the other day. What else can you use to describe a moist cake?
Moist is one of the least liked words in the world.
I know, but what I'm saying is when it comes to baking, is there any real substitute for moist?
I don't even know. I haven't thought about it.
You know what it means. It's moist and delicious. You can fancy this one up by drizzling melted chocolate on it, or you could even make a glaze. You'll need 4 eggs or some mix of eggs that equals 4 large chicken eggs. So say a goose egg and a chicken egg, or 3 big duck eggs, something like that.
Yeah, the other day I got 0 eggs. So, and yesterday, 0 eggs.
Man.
Mine, it's molting heaven over here. It's like everybody is looking gangly. It's bad.
Poor
Bad.
things.
Okay, so let's go through the ingredients that we need. This is a great cake to take somewhere, a nice hostess gift to give someone, or if you're going to, we like to bake something when we go to a party. Okay, so let's go through the ingredients that we're going to need. There's 2 cups of granulated sugar, 2 cups of pumpkin puree, 1 cup of applesauce, a half a cup of canola oil, 4 eggs at room temperature, 2 cups of flour or gluten-free 1-to-1 flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 1/4 of each nutmeg and ginger.
You're going to preheat your oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to grab a large mixing bowl, and you're going to beat your eggs until fluffy and at least double in volume. So essentially, you're going to put your eggs in the bowl and beat them for about 5 minutes until you're going to be on the frothy stage to, it's almost marshmallowy, but it takes about 5 minutes. To the beaten eggs, you're going to add the sugar, the pumpkin, the applesauce, and the oil, and mix that in. Then you're going to add all of the dry ingredients and mix on low speed until it's fully combined. Pour the batter into a large greased bundt pan and bake for an hour. Check with a toothpick or knife to make sure it's done, and let it cool completely before you glaze or put chocolate on it or whatever you want to do. It's that easy.
And then put it in a cake carrier and take it to your friend's house. Take it to your best friend's house and talk some chickens. It's a great cake, easy to do, easy to take with you, and yummy for fall. So try it. You might like it. Let us know what you think. Okay, so let's move on to retail therapy. Retail therapy. Yeah. This week's retail therapy, we're talking vintage Duck Collectables. And there's a lot. This might be, I don't know, maybe more than vintage chicken collectibles. The only one that rivals it would be the duck. And because ducks are popular just in backyard, in ponds around the community, everywhere.
For whatever reason, Since like the early 20th century, so like the last 100 years, ducks have sort of been erased in the collective memory as being a farm animal.
Right.
But really, on American farms, people kept ducks just as much as geese. One of the reasons is because they're such good layers. So if you go back to, say, like the 1920s and 1930s, you can still find tons of things like duck salt and pepper shakers,
Right.
covered duck casseroles, all kinds of kitchenware like that.
And then in the times where they're rejuvenated, they're kind of rejuvenated more as like a fun pet, like, or a waterfowl pet where you went to the pond to check out the ducks and they came over to you and you fed them and you did these things. So even people who didn't have ducks in their backyard or backyard ducks seem to have some sort of connection to ducks. If you live in a water area, especially.
Well, around here, I mean, coastal Maryland, absolutely. You grew up with ducks everywhere. They'd be in your lawn.
We talked about this many times before during the shows. We would have them come up, a mom and dad pair in our gardens, and then you'd see them for days, you'd feed them, and then they would walk away. It was just the norm. I've even made nests for myself. Like when we lived in the townhouse at first, we had one and she came every day. We made her beds. We put like the rice, we heated the rice up in the stockings and made it warm. Yeah. And she wasn't our pet, but she was like just coming up and we were taking care of her. So duck stuff's out there. If you look up vintage duck collectibles, a lot of stuff comes up.
There's a ton. I mean, there's salt and pepper shakers. There are tea sets. There are ducks on nests. I have a few of them.
There's carafes. I've seen the carafe that I really like. The body is the glass and it has a tail and a head. It's $240. It's an expensive one.
Wow.
But it's really cool looking. And the head opens to pour as part of the pour of the duck.
Like a decanter.
Exactly.
Okay,
it's really, really cool. There's statues. There's blankets that you can have ducks on. There's the whole duck decoy. What is it called? Decoys. The wooden ducks that are collectible. In Habitat they have a museum of those.
Right. I mean, anywhere around Maryland, you can find like decoy collectors. There's actually some really neat vintage Corningware that had a mallard duck pattern on it.
I feel like most everything that's collectible in our area, it's regional, will be a lot of the mallard because the mallard is what's here. So if you're gonna look for the mallard, you're gonna find lots. But there's so many the statues that are out there. There's figurines.
Well, then everything. You start to get into the 1980s. There was a goose in the bow, but there were also a lot of ducks with bows on too.
Oh yeah, that vintage 80s stuff. There's wood carved boxes. If you wanted a duck room, you could very easily just go on Etsy, eBay, go out in the wild to the thrift store. I find duck stuff in the thrift store constantly, all the time.
I remember this was a couple years ago. I was really feeling the ducks. I really wanted ducks. And I was like, let's take an hour and go to a thrift shop. So we went up to the one, is that the Gucci one in Jacksonville? What's that one?
Yeah, I call that Gucci. Yeah, Jacksonville.
So we went there. We're looking at stuff. I remember I found 2 vintage glasses that were neat, and you found some stuff. And then we're about to walk out, and you point at something, and you're like, look, there's a duck on a nest. And it was this dark blue duck on a nest. That was one of my, I think it was the second or third one I got. I have ducks on a picture up on my screen.
Yeah, I'm always like, when they do the white ducks, to me, I'm always looking to see if they're geese or ducks. Because they do look similar but different. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a goose or a duck or what that is.
The ducks are like more compact. The geese always have a longer neck. But
yeah, they have that longer neck.
People mix it up all the time. So if you're searching for duck collectibles, do goose too. Because sometimes you're going to find one or the other.
Oh, yeah. And there's new stuff too that's not vintage that you could be out and find, like I'd say at Home Goods, TJ Maxx, sometimes they have stuff there. But vintage-wise, that's what we're going for in the wild, in the thrift stores, on eBay if you have an exact thing that you want, on Etsy, again, if you have something that you really want. But if you're just out shopping the thrift stores, you're going to find the neatest stuff. I mean, there's a chocolate head on a nest. 1960s Imperial glass caramel.
Neat.
$55. It's got the swirly porcelain on the bottom, and the top is like a chocolate caramel with a little bit of swirly. It's really cool, but it's $55. It's a little bit out of my price range. I'm looking for more of the less expensive ones.
Right. Well, I mean, always looking for a bargain, but I do agree with you that ducks are sort of not uncharted territory, but not as picked over as chicken things.
Yeah, I feel like people with chickens, they see chicken stuff and they just get it all no matter what it is.
Right.
Where sometimes with people with the ducks, they're a little pickier. They're leaving some of the duck stuff back so that everybody can kind of get it. And there's more stuff out there, I feel like sometimes. I think it's a toss-up between chickens and ducks. And then a close second with the geese. Yeah, those are cute.
These are duck-shaped canisters. And they're definitely ducks, not geese. But, you know, you could be forgiven for thinking they're geese.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. There's a lot of stuff out there that's just super cool. So go out and find some stuff. If you find it, send us a picture. You could just do it on Instagram or email. We'd love to see it. Now, should we tell everybody what we're going to be talking about next week?
Next week, we are redoing one of your favorites. It's been a couple of years. So we're going to give you a spotlight on the Houdan.
My babies.
Main topic, we're talking about fall chicks and winter prep, both together.
Yes. It's pretty timely.
November is Thanksgiving, so we're kicking off that week with our first Thanksgiving recipe, which is pear bread pudding.
Yummy.
And then retail therapy, we're going to have a little bit of fun with vintage gravy boats.
Because we want to set that Thanksgiving table. We're going to be talking about those things all month. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so what should we tell everybody to do until next week?
Hug your chickens, ducks, and geese
every day and kiss them too. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you'd like to see more of us, please follow us on Instagram at Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. If you'd like to help us grow the podcast, please leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/coffeewiththechickenladies. Thanks for listening.